Does career require monthly, quarterly, or accelerated remittances? Why remittance frequency matters. Remittance frequency is one of the quiet levers that affects your cash flow and compliance risk in Canada. It answers a simple question. How often do you have to send withheld income tax, pension, and employment insurance contributions to the government? For US employers used to different schedules, getting this wrong can lead to late payments, penalties, and confusion about why the same payroll process seems to attract different rules over time. How remittance categories are determined. In broad terms, remittance frequency is based on the size and history of your payroll. Smaller employers with modest withholding amounts often start on a less frequent schedule, while larger employers or those with a record of late payments move to more accelerated remittance cycles. The system is set up so that when you handle larger amounts of other people's money, you are expected to send it in more quickly and more often. Starting out on a default schedule, when you first register for a payroll account, you are typically placed into a default remittance category based on reasonable assumptions about your size. At that stage, you may remit monthly or on another standard schedule. As your payroll grows or your payment history becomes clearer, the tax authority may reclassify you. For foreign employers, this can come as a surprise if no one is watching for notices that your remittance frequency has changed. Monthly remitters and cash flow planning. Monthly remittance is a common starting point and is familiar to many smaller or mid-sized employers. You run payroll as usual, track total deductions for the month, and send one remittance by the deadline. The key is to remember that the money you have withheld is never truly yours. Treating it as a short-term cash flow bridge between payroll and remittance is risky. Monthly remitters still need to ring-fence those funds so that the payment does not become a scramble. Accelerated remitters and tighter deadlines. As payroll grows, remittance frequency can move to accelerated schedules. That means you have to send withheld amounts more quickly after each pay date, sometimes within days, instead of at the end of the month. The goal is to reduce the period during which you are holding significant trust funds. For foreign employers paying large Canadian teams, accelerated remittances can feel like a constant drumbeat of deadlines. The upside is that once you build a process around those shorter cycles, your exposure to penalties for late remittances actually drops because each deadline involves a smaller window of risk. Quarterly or less frequent remittances. In some cases, especially for very small employers with low withholding amounts, quarterly remittances or other less frequent schedules may apply. That reduces administrative workload but comes with its own trap. When you only send payments a few times a year, it is easy for those deadlines to fade into the background. If no one is actively tracking the remittance calendar, a quarterly deadline can slip past more easily than a monthly one. How remittance changes are communicated. Changes in your remittance category usually come via formal notice. The challenge for cross-border employers is that those notices can be mailed to a Canadian address, sent to an online account that no one checks regularly, or forwarded to a local advisor without clear internal follow-up. If you keep remitting on your old schedule after being told to move to a faster one, you can rack up late payment penalties even while believing you are fully compliant. Aligning payroll dates and remittance schedules. One of the practical ways to manage different remittance frequencies is to align your remittance process closely with your pay schedule. If you are on accelerated remittances, you might build a rule that every payroll cycle triggers a remittance task immediately rather than waiting for a separate calendar reminder. For monthly or quarterly remitters, setting internal deadlines well ahead of the official ones gives you a buffer to deal with banking delays or approval bottlenecks. Cross-border coordination challenges. Cross-border employers often have head office teams approving payments in one country and payroll calculated in another. That separation can slow down remittances if approvals or cash movements are not timed with Canadian deadlines. When your remittance category shifts to a faster schedule, you may need to redesign approval chains so they do not depend on a single person in a different time zone signing off at the last minute. Building in local payment limits or pre-approved remittance ranges can keep the process moving without sacrificing control. Using remittance frequency as a health check. Your remittance category also functions as a health check on your compliance. If you are moved to a more accelerated category because of late payments, that is a signal that something in your internal process is strained. Instead of accepting the change, it is worth asking what went wrong and how to prevent a repeat. In that sense, frequency is not just a rule to follow, but feedback on how well your payroll engine is running. Final thoughts? The answer to whether the tax authority requires monthly, quarterly, or accelerated remittances is that it depends on who you are and how you behave. Your remittance frequency is based on payroll size and compliance history, and it can change as your Canadian presence grows. If you treat remittances as a core part of payroll rather than an afterthought, build systems that reflect your current category and watch for notices about changes. The exact label on your schedule becomes just another parameter in a well-run process. If you require assistance with Canadian tax matters, our team is ready to provide reliable professional support. Please contact us at 416-283-8774 or visit theaccountingandtax.com for more information. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.